Hello, everyone, and welcome to Blades in the Dark, your regular Tuesday tabletop RPG streaming series here on Telling Tales. Hi, how are you doing? Good, awesome. I'm glad you're all doing so well. Blades in the Dark, good times, stabby times, dirty times. Let's bring on, as usual, our stream manager, Steve. Now that I've made him mildly corpse with my ridiculous intro.
Dirty, stabby times.
Dirty, stabby, filthy times. How are you, Steve?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you. Yeah, doing well.
Awesome. Steve's going to be tinkering away behind the scenes, fixing things up, doing rules queries, moderating chat, moving around images and cams and all the rest of it. So hopefully you'll never see him again until, next week. So, yeah. All right. Let's get the promo out of the way. Down below, you will find a whole bunch of links. You'll find links to our YouTube, to our Twitch. You're watching on one of those. Why not check out the other? Give us a subscribe and a follow, whichever platform. Both of them. Follow us on everything. It's all good. Speaking of following us, we've got a bunch of social media links down below as well. Instagram and Twitter. We have Discord, where you can join up and talk to other very friendly role players and us about all things role-playing and telling tales. And we have a Patreon if you fancy supporting us in return for some extra stuff. Then feel free to do so. Only tomorrow I will be publishing my GM notes for the Alien one-shot we did earlier this year to patrons. So get yourselves in on that. We run 3 weekly streams, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, each at 8 o'clock p.m. BST. That is 3 o'clock p.m. EST and various other things in other time zones. Mondays is currently Call of Cthulhu. Tuesdays is Blades in the Dark. And Wednesdays is Simbaroom. We're running the Throne of Thorns campaign, and it's going pretty well. Pretty well. Not too many people are dead. It's pretty good. We also run one-shots on the first Saturday of every month. The next one we've got coming up for that. Technically the next one we've got coming up is on September the 11th, which is Pierre running Dungeon World. But we have a special one. And by special, I mean I flubbed it and didn't manage to fit all of the story in one session. So we've got a second part one-shot coming up. The second part of a two-shot, I should say, which is this Saturday, where we're going to be running One Ring with a story adapted from Lord of the Rings Online. And that's this Saturday, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, BST. That's enough about all that. Let's do some Blades in the Dark, folks. So let's start bringing on our crew, the Keepers, those daring smugglers with, I was going to say hearts of gold, but really not. Hearts of purest cracked ebony. Let's bring on Justin first. Justin plays 3 Sheets, their resident hunter, tracker, sharpshooter, and wearer of hats, as you can see. Hopefully. So you had a bit of a caper last week, Justin. Why don't you start telling us about it?
Well, we were all sitting around the lighthouse playing cards when we got a knock on the door, and Dalmore arrived with a job to basically collect. He's been wanting to get us to do for a while. He wanted us to collect a book, or a nautical book, from a rival, well, not a rival gang, but another gang. And so that was the job, really. We kind of agreed to do it, and then we set about working out how we were going to do that.
Absolutely. Let's bring on our second player, John. John plays Bricks, the Keeper's resident cutter. Bit of a brute, known for snapping necks and breaking things with sledgehammers. So how did the planning for this score go, John?
So basically, a large amount of the planning was taken up by us trying to figure out what tack we want to go on this, and we finally decided to be nice and talk to them, because we are in the same district, and we've got enough imminent wars going on. So Bricks and Echo went to basically scout out their hideout, because Dalmore had given us the address, and we found it was a very cool-looking abandoned tower down by the south side of the region. And Bricks started a very loud argument with the pottery seller so that Echo could go ahead and get a closer look at the tower. And we finally decided on infiltrating, giving them a letter to be impressive but also nice, and then invite them to neutral territory, which Three Sheets had previously scouted out. And that was our plan, basically.
Yes, sorry, mouse stopped working briefly, as regular viewers will be familiar with that concept of my mouse dying all the time. Yes, and I think Silver also did some kind of like verbally scouting of the wraiths on the docks as well, kind of picking up some extra info about them.
Picked up their reputation.
No one knows who they are, essentially. They always wear masks and the like. But then we had the actual infiltration of said tower, or at least going there and sort of trying to persuade them to come to a meeting with you all. And for that, we will turn to Pierre, who plays Echo, our resident lurk, thief, sneaks woman, demon mouth and an egg. Those the three corners of the triangle of role playing characters. What do they do? What are they good at? And what part of their body do they have a demon mouth in? Pierre, how did scouting the tower go, or infiltrating the tower, I should say?
So yes, after our initial very successful scouting, myself and Three Sheets basically snuck up to the tower. Three Sheets was basically having my back in case anything went wrong, which of course it wasn't going to go wrong because our plans are always so flawless. I we sort of didn't want to go in through the front door, obviously. So Three Sheets gave me like a boost up, and I kind of found this like crack in the wall that I sort of shimmied through on my belly and like squeezed my way through with a note containing just our wishes of peace and a desire for trade clenched in my mouth. So the intention was I'd sneak through and give it to them. As I got onto the other end of this like deep crack in the wall, I felt some metal against the back of my head. And that was a pistol aimed at me from someone who definitely had not been taken by surprise. However, the note did successfully make it so that I did not get shot. And they agreed to meet with us at a location of our choosing. So yeah.
Yes. Sorry, my mouse. All the time, every day. I'm not even joking. This cost me a lot of money as well, folks. All I can say is just don't use mice.
Yeah.
If you can get away without them, just use kind of some futuristic sci-fi system where you just gesture at the air and move holograms around, if at all possible.
Can we get a Patreon crowdfunder going to get you a new mouse?
Yeah, that could be our next target. No, not a mouse. No, the holographic interface, please.
Sure.
An Iron Man style thing,
That's
or Minority Report, depending on your age. So let's bring on our final player, Sam, who plays Silver, the group Slide, kind of con woman, deceiver, manipulator, and tell us how the meeting with the Wraiths went, Sam.
It went relatively well. We met them in an abandoned stables. Perhaps we should have been negotiating for a new mouse from that. But we met them in abandoned stables. Silver and Bricks kind of spruced it up a bit. It was somewhere that Three Sheets had previously scouted out as a good location for secret-ish meetings. And they showed up. They weren't too unfriendly, a bit abrupt maybe, but basically they had a few demands in exchange for this book. They wanted our agreement to go on one job for them that they have kind of lined up. They wanted, I think, Echo and Silver to be available to work for them for 6 months or a year, something like that, some long period of time.
A year, I believe. Yeah.
A year, and they wanted basically 1 coin from all our scores for the next 3 months, which, I mean, it wasn't too bad, but we had a little discussion, tried to negotiate with them a bit, and we basically got them to agree that for whatever work we ended up doing for them, we'd receive our kind of fair share of the profits. But in terms of the tribute we would owe to them for the next 3 months, they wouldn't budge. So we just kind of went with that one, and made a deal on that basis and got the book, which was Dalmor seemed very happy with that result, basically.
Absolutely, and the book in question an open question. Can anyone remember what was in the book?
It was nautical maps and logbook of Leviathan hunter ship from Aruvia called the Storm Palace.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. With Leviathan hunting grounds that the people in the crew who have worked aboard Leviathan hunters before were not familiar with. Although that's not exactly surprising, being as it's in Aruvian Leviathan hunter. None of you are Aruvian. So there we go. And we had a downtime. I'm not sure anything massively important happened. I suppose the most important thing was that a member of your rover crew decided to basically kill a grey cloak in a tavern, which being as that gang is not you're not their favorites already, definitely runs the risk of exacerbating that particular relationship, but we also decided we didn't really care, so you can't, rather than try and make amends or like keep it under the rug, instead you kind of adopted the policy of walking around town going, that's what happens when you mess with the keepers. So we'll see what comes of that.
I think our specific party line was, that's what happens when you badmouth someone's parents.
Sure.
And also, no such thing as a bad clock. So
no such thing as a bad clock. Absolutely. It didn't actually start a clock. It finished one. So with that in mind, let's move on to tonight's score. We're going to stick with our plan that we've established over the last couple of weeks. So we're going to try and do a score and a downtime in one session. So we may go under, we may go over, but we'll see how we do, folks. So the score that has been selected, wow, my mouse, let me tell you, folks, this is something else. So the score you selected, let me read out the blurb for it that I gave the guys when they were picking between scores. Valeris, the spy friend of Three Sheets, has come to you with some alarming news. The magistrate's assistant you duped into missing the payoff from the bill hooks has started asking questions and spreading descriptions around the docks. It's only a matter of time before she likely identifies you and tells the bill hooks who was responsible. Valeris says he has a wild notion for a plan to avoid this eventuality without killing a city official. It might just get you some coin as well. So, with that in mind, I think we need to talk to Valeris now. Now,
sounds
he's
good.
not just going to turn up at your lighthouse. He's far too busy a man for that. So instead, he has given you an address in, it's going to be one of two places, an address in Silkshore, where you can meet him. Are we all going, or just Three Sheets, or a mixture? What's the plan?
Whatever.
There was mention of coin. I want to be there.
Of course.
Cool.
Yeah, I think I'd go.
I think I'd be there.
It would be odd if Brix was the only one lounging at home, punching a stone pillar or something along those lines. In that case, you go to the address that Valeris has given you, and it is not a very pleasant place at all. It is the top floor of a quite a tall set of mostly abandoned apartments, at the top of which, like the staircase and the floorboards are starting to rot, kind of all the moisture seeping up from the waterways of Silkshore to infect this place with decay and insect life and some kind of disgusting flatulent smell that you can't quite place, which is probably for the best. But nevertheless, you turn into an old abandoned apartment and you find yourself seeing Valeris. He's sat there on what seems to be a relatively new chair with his feet up on a battered old table, and is just kind of whistling softly to himself with his, I believe I've described him as having like a thick grey coat, and he's sort of bundled up in it against the cold of the evening. And he's just kind of, his eyes are closed. He's just kind of whistling to himself and rocking slightly side to side on the chair.
Maybe I clear my throat and Valeris.
He kind of slowly opens his eyes and flicks his hair to one side with a nod of his head. As always, he's a very handsome, sexy man with sort of almost kind of 90s action star kind of curtains coming down, sort of thing. I don't know, younger Nathan Fillion, that kind of vibe off him. And he tilts his head at you all and says, "Late."
I slept in. Sorry.
No. About a week late. But I suppose we can still do this. Did you have
busy people?
Indeed. Any other plans I should know about? Things that needed taken care of?
We take care of ourselves. Everything's fine.
Information is a two-way street. It's fine. So, we need someone silenced. Do you even know what her name was?
I look at Bricks.
Bricks.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's not in your notes, because I never gave you the name.
I think you gave
never
us
asked.
the name of the magistrate.
I did not.
Maybe. Then
I have
Bricks
Lady
furrows
Drake.
his brow and.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. Did I give you the name of the magistrate? What was it again? Sorry?
Lady Drake is the name I have written down.
Lady Drake.
Yes.
Okay. Let's run with that. That's not on my character list. That's appalling.
It is on my list.
Dun dun dun.
Valeris sort of rolls his eyes in exaggerated frustration and says, "Well, the assistant in question is Junior Pardoner Quess. She's hardworking, a real go-getter, and I suppose she either needs to be bought off, brought round, or dumped into the bay."
Actually,
Fortunately for you folks, I have a plan.
I
Because
see.
I'm not particularly happy being linked to this either. Have any of you heard about the gathering party, if you will, in the harbour in 2 nights' time?
I saw some people buying fireworks.
That may well be for it, yes. I wouldn't have expected you to necessarily receive an invitation. I suppose that's being charitable. There is a tourney being held. Any of you play Guts? The card game, not... I don't know what you do with your spare time.
Silver, you've got expensive tastes.
Well, I've been known to play, but It's just a hobby.
She's being modest. She is the best guts player you have
Are
ever
we
seen.
going to stake silver in a Royal Casino game of Baccarat?
Well, let me tell you, if you are expecting some kind of exciting dramatic adventure wherein everything rides on Silver's expert play at the game of guts, you'll be very disappointed, because what I'm doing is sending you to a quite fancy party in disguise as some jeweler's assistants in order to gain access to the right people and right places.
But we can play guts, right?
Absolutely, if you have the coin for the entrance fee to the tourney.
What's the
guessing
coin?
we're not going to have that coin.
I have not yet fabricated the economy of Doskvol. Suffice to say, the price that Valeris mentions is so out of the range of your payment that it probably prompts an existential crisis amongst the more sensitive of you.
35 coin.
Do they
2 coin.
give odds on the players?
Yes, there will be betting. There will be other games of chance. Also, various displays of art and crafts from around the city, industrial machining, jewels.
And I don't suppose those jewels will be on display in prominent locations.
You know, Echo, I think they might.
Interesting.
So, there are 2 people of interest to discuss here. First is the jeweler Emmeline, of my acquaintance, horribly in debt, and willing to pay off part of that debt by allowing me to install you as her assistants for the evening. Try not to drag any attention back to her, but if you do, as long as it's not me, we'll be fine. This should gain you access to the dueling quarters of the party.
Very nice.
Perhaps quarters is the wrong word. Maybe I should say deck. When I said in the harbour, I did mean quite literally. It is taking place on a refurbished and newly refloated Leviathan hunter ship.
Sounds like a place that would have a lot of security.
Oh my, yes. In fact, I believe the man running it is providing his own security. Lots of nobles, merchants, craftsmen, artistes, but also some lower ranked dignitaries, shall we say, people who run charities, temples and the like. A real who's who. You know what, 3 Sheets? I believe a certain magistrate's assistant will be there. Yes.
Who's the ship called?
Hmm?
What's the ship called?
I'm not sure it's been named yet.
What was it called?
I've got no idea. It's been derelict for years.
And who's
the notations on the for the Storm Palace were quite recent.
Right.
and who's running the show?
Some old money noble runs a munitions company.
Sounds like he will know where to find a hired gun or 2.
I'm sure there will be a few on there. But the objective is not to cause trouble, is it? It's to quell any trouble with this quest via whatever means you can find. I suppose drastic if necessary. And also, maybe avail yourself of some of the objets d'art.
You're a man of wonderful taste. I appreciate you bringing this to our attention.
Good. It goes without saying that you didn't hear any of this from me.
Sure.
If you wish to avail of the services of Emmeline and go in under her cover, meet her on the docks 2 days' time at the hour of nightfall. If not, do as you wish. But if you don't, you're going to have to find some way to clamber aboard, and also some way to justify to the many, many security staff there why you're there.
Is there any way you could get us contact with this Emmeline shortly before, so that perhaps we can prepare disguises or whatever that would match with
Disguises will be provided for you.
Oh, thank you. Very kind.
Well, sounds like a very enjoyable evening. I'm sure we'll make the most of it.
He stands up and sort of, as he does so, the creak of the attic above that marks sort of floorboards settling with each other causes a spatter of foul water to drip down on his head. He kind of flicks it away, going, "Ecstasy's piss." Look, we work together well, I think. Just nothing big on this one. No explosions. No master assassins murdering targets.
I look at Bricks.
I'm just interested in that table.
Yep, everything will go smooth. It always does.
Like silk.
Quite. Well, I will see you after the work is done. He slips a couple of fine suede gloves on, gives you quite an elaborate little bow, turns on his heel and walks out and away from the foul building.
So, we reckon this is Skurlock Munitions, right? Who's behind this ship? Just so we're all clear.
He didn't seem the sort to throw pies, but
I mean, didn't seem the sort to walk unharmed through fire, but, you know.
I think we don't have quite good enough luck for it not to be Skurlock Munitions running this party.
Well, hopefully this will go fine. I don't like the fact that this is on water, but...
Oh,
Please try and stay out of the water this time, Echo. Really, you're getting quite a bad habit for this kind of thing. On the land, on the ship, just that's it.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, what's our plan?
well, we should probably try and find out what this quest is doing there first. Maybe we find out why she's there. We can work out how to leverage her.
Yeah. Out of character,
Mm-hmm.
it feels very social connection because we have a connection to the jeweler, Emmeline.
Mm-hmm.
So that does feel like unless we're explicitly going for breaking onto this boat, I think we should probably go for that style.
or would it
Yeah,
be deception?
It's either like deception or social, right? I think you could go for either of those two.
Sure.
But yeah, if you're going for this approach, yeah, it's almost certainly that one.
I mean,
Sorry.
a daring plan would be to take advantage of the large amount of munitions on said ship, blow a hole in the side, and use the opportunity to get rid of Quest and steal large amounts of jewelry.
I
mean,
don't know if
obviously,
there
I
will
don't
be
know.
munitions.
Yeah, just because he runs
Sure,
a munitions company
sure.
doesn't mean he stores them all on the fragile
But if
boat
we,
in the
but
harbour.
if
mean,
we,
we think they'll be
brought, if we brought large numbers of munitions onto the boat,
I'm not
I'm
in
just
favour of this
saying-
plan. This plan
just saying,
will get us
I'm
all
just-
killed.
I'm just putting out a wild card third option. Stove the hull. Take advantage of the chaos to grab some jewels, shoot Quest in the head, get out of there. Nice and quiet.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea how rarely I get to see a bunch of posh, up themselves wankers playing card games? Like, this is the bet of the century.
Well, I just thought you might be interested in blowing a hole in the side of a ship.
I am interested in rich people's money and them giving it away and me taking it because I'm right.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I just thought I'd put it out there. It's always an option.
Yeah. Well, Silver is undoubtedly our finest guts player. I had forgotten that Brix is our most dedicated.
And we would get to smuggle some explosives onto the ship. That's our job.
Right.
Oh,
I think it's right that we need just in case the explosives plan is not. I don't think it's our plan A. I think it's probably our plan C or D
or G. I understand. I just thought I'd be remiss not to bring it up.
Fair, but let's I guess try to. I think it is a good idea if we can find anything out about Quest, about why she's on that ship. I think that would be a really useful thing.
Good.
So, we have 2 nights to get some information.
Absolutely. So, with that in mind, do we want to start making some preparatory rolls, before we start talking about the engagement of the score? So it sounds to me like Echo is proposing. Whether or not Echo is the one who carries it out might be another matter. But Echo is proposing trying to find out some further information about Junior Pardoner Quest.
Yeah. I'm not actually that good at finding out information.
I mean, someone else can do it if they want to, if they feel it's a valuable thing to do.
Okay.
You might be on your own on this one, Echo.
It's valuable.
I'm just trying to think of what the best way of doing it would be. And
Yeah.
I think a good place to start would be either with if there are jewelry or craft items, there might be a list of who's going representing what, or there might be some kind of paperwork tying people to items or people to events, something might say sponsored by Lady. What's her face?
Yeah, sure. You might. Yeah, there'll be like an itinerary
Itineraries
of said party, and maybe you could get your hands on that. Maybe this Emmeline is a way to do that. Maybe try and get some more information. I feel that's information about the party rather than directly about Quest. But I think maybe there'll be, as you say, maybe there will be some cross pollination of that, right?
Sure.
Absolutely. I mean, Echo, when you said you're not good at getting information, I mean, surely you could do a prowl roll on Quest.
I mean, sure, I could probably. I mean, if we know where she is, I could try and stalk her.
You know where she works.
That is true. That is actually
we are
an excellent
degenerates.
idea. I am going to follow Quest like a shadow.
Yeah, that's the start of many a great sentence. I have an excellent idea. I'm going to follow this woman.
And it does help, of course, that Echo is not one of the people dealing with Quest directly in the previous escapade that she featured in. So well, go ahead for me. Why don't you make me? And I'd say this is a risky roll. I'd say. And why do you make me a roll for prowl? Are you
Do I want to push myself?
push yourself. I will offer you a devil's bargain, and let's all say it all at once in return for
The answer is yes.
yes,
The ticking of a clock.
the ticking of a clock.
Yep. I am 100% taking that.
Mm-hmm.
So I will follow her and see where she goes.
Okay.
My highest roll was a 5.
Okay. Well, your consequence for that will be that the clock gets further ticked. And you follow Quess, as you say, like a shadow. You find her quite easily based on the descriptions the others have offered and kind of coming out of the offices in Charter Hall that you associated with her from that previous escapade. She matches the description fairly, fairly accurately. She's dressed in very sophisticated but rather basic sort of administrator's tunic and robes. She's quite fair, pale, and with soft blonde hair, with some kind of small glasses and a rather distinctive and unusual knitted cap for such a high-ranking official. It's quite a poor-looking cap, honestly. But you follow her around quite ably, and over the next day or so, something becomes very apparent about Quess, and that is that she seems to be socializing a lot. She seems to be going to a lot of kind of high rent taverns, and you see her a couple of times kind of follow her through to kind of eating houses and the like, and she seems to be talking to a lot of people. You don't see any kind of criminal activity going down or anything like that, and everyone she's meeting looks very official. She looks like she's spending time talking to peers and superiors even, and generally what you would consider doing silver work. She's talking to a lot of people, maybe
them
seems
up.
to be winning hearts and minds. I don't think you managed to hear exactly, you don't get the sense that it's like for one specific, purpose or anything. And if it is, you don't get close enough to be able to determine that. But
Sure.
Yeah.
Do I, that cap that she's wearing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it sort of looks out of place for a magistrate somewhat. Like, it's not kind of sophisticated. Does it seem like it's the sort of thing that a close relative might have knitted you and might have tremendous sentimental value?
Yeah, absolutely. Could be something like that, or it could be any reason. It's not kind of hiding anything. You see her kind of taking it off, but it's definitely an odd little foible for a magistrate's assistant to have, like at that level. Junior pardoner is not it's not a career for life, but it is more money and stability than you will ever know, probably, unless this goes according to plan.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe there's a bit of social pressure we can apply possibly. I don't know. Anyway,
so there was mention by Justin of trying to find like an itinerary for the party or some kind of schedule or kind of guide to it in some sense. Who is carrying this out and what are they rolling to do so?
I'm happy to carry it out. I'm just not sure what the best thing to roll would be. My gut is to go with either like hunt to try and find this, like track down who it is that is responsible to these things by doing inquiries, or to do consort to achieve the same thing through a consorty way.
I think either of those are fairly solid choices.
Then I will go with hunt. I'm going to sniff out the clues and find out exactly what's going on.
I will call this a controlled roll, I think. Lots of people are getting invites to this. So basically you just want to get a look at that invite, right? And like see if there's any further information on it. And I think that's not too difficult.
I rolled a 6 and a 4.
Okay, well, that definitely does it for you. So you spend a couple of hours just kind of roaming the docks. Like Valeris mentioned that like just merchants and craftsmen and artists and the like were being invited to this as well. So it occurs to you that just kind of checking through around those places, seeing if anyone has left anything lying around. And you know what? The second place you try, which is just a fairly bog standard, uninspiring general store on the docks. You have a wander around and you see that the merchant there has kind of a pinboard at the side of their kind of their countertop, and you see on it an invite. Lord Skurlock would very much appreciate your attendance at the party of the season. Talks about the guts tourney. It talks about all the different presentations and the like. And it doesn't give, like nabbing it won't mean you have an invite, but it is at least a list of different things. There are different decks with art displays and jewel displays, craftsmanship displays, things of that nature. There are names of who is presenting stuff listed next to them. You scan down them. Quest is not on that list.
Quest isn't on the list. Is her boss on the list?
No. Neither Drake nor Quest are on the list of kind of people. I guess curating things would be the term, or presenting things, stuff like that. They're not. They seem to. Quest seems to be very much just a guest.
And there's no like magistrate has kindly donated 7 trillion.
No, there's no like reference to anything to do with Quest as far as you can see.
Gosh darn.
But it has given you, if you want to ask any questions about the party once they're there, you're definitely better served to get some snippets for free now that you've seen, all the different things
I am
that are
taking
happening
this.
there. Like, oh yeah.
Ripping it off.
Absolutely. You also see that there are boats being provided to take people from the dock out to where the ship is moored in the harbour.
Does it explicitly say that weapons are not allowed on the flyer, or is it too high class to even have to say it?
Implied, maybe a little bit.
Honestly, like the high class in Doskval arm themselves fairly copiously. You know what? I think Lord Skurlock is a cautious man.
No guns.
And I would say that yes, he has said that it says that all items of personal protection and or dueling capacity must be left, can be secured with professional Skurlock munitions employees upon getting.
What an effing joke!
Can I chat to Silver about an idea? I was wondering, Silver, if you were the sort of person to talk to about maybe obtaining some jewels that look nice, but really aren't valuable at all, just for decoration. I was thinking perhaps if we can successfully take some of the jewels, we might want to have some to swap out.
That does seem like an excellent idea that could make
this
whole operation go far more smoothly.
Like high quality paste jewels.
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely a thing that could be done. Who's going to make the roll, and what do we want to roll?
I'm happy to make that roll. I feel like Silver probably owns a fair number of fake jewels. So maybe some kind of consort role with someone she already knows who just has sold her some of these fake jewels in the past to get some new ones.
Some more? Yeah. I wouldn't say it's like the most effective thing to roll because it's persuade people to give you fake jewels. But like I think it's still a roll that can be made for sure. But I might slightly reduce the effectiveness of it. But yeah. Go for it.
Enough.
I'm happy to assist you if you need it.
Well, I have no devil's bargain for you, so
I'll gladly take the assistance.
Let's go shopping.
Echo getting that stress ticking early.
I feel like going shopping with Silver is a reasonable cause.
It's pretty stressful for me.
Yeah,
and Silver just loves it. Like, finally, someone.
like the DOSQUAL equivalent of Rodeo Drive, you know.
And I'm just being dragged along. Just like, oh, come on. This one was good. And Silver's like, no, it's got to be perfect.
Echo is definitely carrying all the bags, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh.
100%.
This is the buddy comedy that we've never known that we wanted so much.
I rolled a 2, a 3, and a 6.
Hey, there we go. Okay, so yeah, you managed to get your hands on, like, you know, there's not too many of them, but you have like a handful of pretty convincing like fake jewels. They're just, you know, kind of highly burnished glass, colored glass, affixed to very, very cheap gold and silver. You know, maybe you can swap them out. Obviously, like, finding an identical one aboard the ship will be difficult, but you know, it's better than to not have anything to replace them with, right? So we'll see what we can do. But yeah, you end up with like a handful of them.
I think the at least people will not be looking at empty cases or
Absolutely.
something.
Absolutely. So Silver, whenever you set up your load for this, it's going to be one spot. Whoever has some of these on them will have to take up one load slot with fake jewels.
Okay.
So with that in mind, is there any further roles we want to do? Anything else we want to do, or shall we crack on into the engagement here?
Let's crack on.
I would like to do a thing.
Go on.
I would like to stop by the Silver Stag Casino and scout for information about the people who are attending for the game. Generally see whether anyone has been talking about an invite, what the general quality is, how good they are at playing, what the odds are, this kind of thing.
Okay, so you're gathering information.
Yeah, I am gathering information for the attendants to help the group, and definitely not.
Hey, helping yourself is helping the group. That's always been my philosophy.
That's
Absolutely
a good way to think about it.
So yeah, the Silver Stag Casino, which I haven't prepared in any way, but well controlled F'd on the PDF, is the Silver.
You was there.
Yeah. Oh well, good for you. The Silver Stag Casino is in Silkshore, so it's a short, trip to go there. If it's in Silkshore, I'm going to say it's actually probably, it's that odd intersection of high class and low class. And I don't mean it's middle. You know what I mean? Like it looks quite nice until you look a bit closer and see kind of the peeling paper and the slightly threadbare nature of the guards. But neither do they tolerate, people with no money coming in, because where's the profit in that? So yeah, you go there and you kind of try and see what you can find out about this guts tourney that's going down on the ship. Well, what role are you going to make?
Brix is not one to be desperately subtle, so he's going to go for a command.
Okay.
Classic.
I will say that if this works, I think if it works, it's a pretty good effect. If it doesn't work, it might be quite a bad consequence.
Cool.
And I don't have a devil's bargain for you.
I mean, those are chancy odds.
I like those odds.
You can always
And Brix
resist
has a
consequences.
gambling problem,
Yeah, you can always resist.
so we're going to go for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go for it.
There's no such thing as a bad consequence.
That's correct. That is correct, Echo. That's correct.
That is correct / precisely wrong. Yes.
And I think I'm going to push myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So I'm rolling 3 dice.
Oh, man.
What are the chances that could go wrong?
My highest is a 5.
Okay.
1, a 2, and a 5.
So you and I'm going to say that was a risky roll. Yeah, sure. I'm going to say that you go to the Silver Stag, a place you've been a few times, but people look slightly askance at you there, and you're obviously far more comfortable in kind of betting on the fighters down in the pits. But you make your way into the Silver Stag, roam around for a while, and eventually find someone who's kind of a drunkard playing some kind of Doskvol equivalent of blackjack, who claims to know all about the guts turning and kind of all about the people playing and who you should bet on and the like. And a little later on in the evening, after he's had a couple more drinks, you manage to sort of corner him and not using violence, but persuade him in a commanding tone of voice and with your physical presence to give you further information on this. And in order to do that, you're going to have to raise your voice a little and definitely risk the attention of the Silver Stag security. But he does give you some insight on this. It's definitely kind of the game of the year. No one runs big games like this outside of the casinos in Doskvol, and to have a name like Lord Skirlock, he's a relatively powerful, very rich man with only a slight amount of odd, dark rumors surrounding his comings and goings at odd times, and but there, I'm sure he's very nice. It's all perfectly fine.
Cool.
Yeah, and you also pick up the name of a player. The name of a player who this individual, this drunken individual, is convinced is a great individual to bet on. And they are called Baculus.
Count Baculus.
Count Baculus.
All right.
And then you find basically the security staff of the Silver Stag have taken notice of you backing this guy into a corner. He's not too happy about this. He's sweating very badly and he's kind of looking around him, desperate for a way away from you, because he definitely didn't particularly want to give you the information about Baculus. You don't pass out information like that for free. And the Silver Stag staff have taken notice and are walking towards you. One of them has a shillelagh out and is kind of thumping the unpleasant end of it into their open hand. You are now in a desperate situation and you need to get out of it via an action roll of some kind.
Skirmish.
They
Wreck.
weren't particularly happy with you being there in the first place, in all honesty.
This is true.
Wreck.
It's an option.
I am torn between
Technically,
wreck and skirmish. It's a great place to be.
Mm-hmm.
How big are they?
I mean, they're pretty big. They're slightly smaller or comparable to you. They're security staff at a casino.
Huge.
Like, they have been picked to be intimidating.
Let's go for skirmish.
Yes.
Okay, so this is a desperate roll, so you can go ahead and take an XP just for making it. I haven't got a devil's bargain for you. You're definitely not getting any help from any of these three because they're not there. Do you want to push yourself, or are you just going to rely on your skirmish stat?
I
wonder if it's possible for me to spend a stress to flashback to have been there. Because I kind of feel like
that's a flashback, not a retcon. That's a retcon.
That's totally fair. That's totally fair.
I am going to go for it.
Do it.
6.
There we go.
Nice.
So the one with the shillelagh kind of comes towards you, and kind of opens his mouth to start threatening you, and you're raised on the streets of Duskfall. Why would you open your mouth to threaten someone rather than make it clear what your intent is with such a decisive, awful action? You snatch the shillelagh out of his hand, crack it over his head sharply. He gives a horrible wounded noise and crumples to his feet, and you kind of barge out between the other two that were walking towards you, who are both like backed off a bit. But you have no particular need to exit, to stay. So you walk your way out. You've got a new shillelagh now if you want.
Sweet. I'm taking that.
Oh yeah,
That's great.
Fashionable.
Keep the weapon.
There we go. So I think that's all. I think that's enough prep for us. We've made a roll each, and I think more than that starts to get a little bit clunky. So in that case, we need to make the engagement roll, folks. So do we consider this to be deception or social, do we think?
I think social, because we don't yet know what we are manipulating them about, so we kind of have to talk to them a bit to work out what's going on.
So the plan is to go up to Quest and engage her, if not honestly, at least, trying to genuinely scout her out and see if you can get her on your side or blackmail her or extort her or something like that, right? Yeah. So it's a fairly direct approach, and you're not going in with any sense of, you are deceiving them into being the Julia's assistants, but yeah. So a fairly direct social thing. In that case, it's the question we need to resolve is the social connection. I think we already have the answer to that. You're going in with this jeweler, Emmeline, and yeah. So I don't think we really need to answer much. So that engagement roll, we get 1 die for luck, and then on top of that, you know what? I'm just going to give an extra 1 because I think Valeris has, set this up extremely well for you. So you can just take another die for that. What would we like extra dice for? Remember, this is just you kind of getting aboard and finding quests and stuff. So some of what you've researched will help with that, and some of it not so much, really.
2 of us have met and spoken with Quest, so we know exactly what she looks like, what she does, who she works for.
I am happy to add a die for that, and then remove 1 for exactly the same reason. Because she might just look at you and go, "Oh my God, you're the scoundrel," etc. So I think that balances.
Okay.
Well, we know that she was involved in shady dealings.
She knows you're involved in shady dealings.
Yeah, but we've got nothing to lose. We are criminals who are wanted by the police. She has.
Sure, but who's going to who's going to listen to shady criminals about what a magistrate's been doing or not doing?
I still think we have we have the threat of blackmail or manipulation, because maybe no,
I don't think, and is that go? This is just the beginning bit of this isn't how it's all going to go. This is just this bit of getting aboard, finding her, and engaging with her.
Yeah, I guess the jewels are kind of a secondary goal, so they're not necessarily.
They kind of are. I wouldn't necessarily consider them in the engagement role.
All right, cool.
Do we have any other things to do with this? No.
Maybe that we have people who have worked on Leviathan Hunter ships on our crew that would help us, navigate this.
Refurbished it, but you know what? I do think I'll give you a navigation general dice for knowledge of the party, kind of what Justin found. You know what's there, you know what's going down, you know what kind of people are there. I think that's worth an extra die as well.
We've been on ships before, so we're not going to get lost or anything.
Sure, yeah.
If someone says, the room to the starboard side, we know what that is.
Sure.
I won't, but, I'll follow you guys.
Sure.
Towards the prow of the boat.
So, I don't really have any further ones to take away. So I'm happy with a 3-die engagement roll, which is pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Pretty good. Okay, the highest result there is a 4. So you're in a risky position when the action starts. So here we go. Here's how we've gone. You went down to the docks just as night was starting to fall. Not that there's any particularly easy way to tell that in the world of Blades in the Dark. Since 24 hours a day, the sky is cushioned with an inky darkness. But On the docks, you can see the relatively bright sort of halon and neon lights and kind of electrified things out somewhere in the harbour in the vast shape of a Leviathan hunter. And you can see that there are quite kind of fancy gondolas that are being boarded as people are taken over towards the ship. And you quite swiftly find yourself in the company of jeweler Emmeline. You are kind of told where she'd wait for you. She is dressed in a fashion that is both functional and stylish. She is wearing quite a lot of kind of jewelry and accessories and the like, and a rather nice kind of couched hat. But she is also wearing a kind of rough jeweler's tunic over that. And as you approach, she kind of looks over at you. You see her kind of like examining herself in a mirror as you approach, and she kind of notes your approach and flicks it down, puts it away. She's kind of maybe early middle age or so, and she turns to you and says, "Oh, you're with Valeris, yes? Yes. He told me this would all be taken care of, and all I needed to do is provide you with this." And she passes you each kind of a rough jeweler's tunic, which you can also kind of put over yourself.
Cool.
Thank you.
You are essentially after this point, you kind of go and join a queue as a group, and you are ushered towards the gondolas slowly. When you reach there, a rather tough but friendly seeming man in a Skurlock munitions uniform sort of looks down a list for Emmeline's name, verifies that she was allowed for certain assistants to come and study some of the fascinating jewel work that's being on display in the bowels of the ship, and waves you happily onto a gondola. Justin has raised a very good point in the private chat. What load are we all going with?
I am light.
I will say that anything higher than light, you're going to start raising suspicions about why you're loaded with equipment going as a guest to a party. Justin?
I would like to make a roll to have hidden, so that if later on I want to produce a weapon, that it can get through something. If I want to have, so I would like to make a roll to hide that, if possible, like a kind of finesse roll, if possible.
Isn't that part of light load? Is that whatever you have on you?
Sure,
is
but because we're probably going to be explicitly. Maybe
you'd be requested to hand over weapons. I don't think you'd be patted down.
Even reprobates like us, fair enough.
They don't think you're reprobates, though, do they?
We've got fancy tunics.
Yeah.
All right, in that case, never mind.
Yeah. Once your load is determined, the gondola takes you across the harbour. You're very unused to travelling out beyond kind of just within 30 feet or so of the dockland, even on your barge, because it just isn't generally done unless you're in a very large, safe ship like the Leviathan hunters, although even those are dragged down to the depths by the things that dwell in the starry waters near Doskvol. But everything seems perfectly fine with this. It is a calm night, if a little bit on the cool side, and the water is sort of almost still around you as one of the gondoliers brings you closer to the light Leviathan hunter. It has been refurbished considerably, and the vast kind of industrial processing nature of the ship seems to have been replaced by decks provided for leisure and staff occupation and the like. It is hung all over in those lights I mentioned, kind of electric and neon and argon lights, covering it from head to toe in a variety of colors, although mostly a kind of harsh yellowish. And on the side, you can see there is someone, even as you are approaching, kind of down on, a kind of sat on what is essentially a large plank of wood hung from the top by ropes, and they are painting the new name on the side of the vessel, and the name is the Cephalophore. That is CEPHALOPHORE. I don't expect all your characters to know this, because it's up to you whether they do or not, really. But if anyone is interested, a cephalophore is an image of a decapitated saint who is holding their head under their arm.
And this is the new name that they're painting over an
correct.
old one.
Yeah, you can't tell at all what the old name was. That the like hull of the ship has been kind of burnished completely clean.
Sure. I'm making my best attempt to sort of stay in the middle of the gondola and not look at the water.
Absolutely. Why? So, on approach to the ship, kind of very kind of tough-looking rope ladders have been lowered down, and people are clambering up on board. Some of them you see on other gondolas are maybe struggling with it a little bit. A few less than healthy merchants are desperately trying to like climb aboard to this party without revealing too much kind of skin and or lack of capability of the very act of climbing, but all of you can get aboard easily. Emmeline reaches the top. The guards turn and say, you know, obviously Lord Skurlock welcomes you aboard the ship, but would also like to ensure the safety of all of his guests. Are there any items of personal defense or items for dueling that perhaps we could hold securely for you before you depart later this evening?
Nope.
No, nothing here.
That's wonderful. I think this might require a roll. Maybe a group action? What do we think?
Well, we definitely get our bonus die for passing as normal individuals, don't we?
Yeah,
from
well.
the Ketos.
Smuggler.
As long as
Yeah.
does our heat have to be low for that to happen, or
Our heat is low, but our wanted level is high.
Perversely, they're all after us, and so they're not looking for normal citizens like
So
us.
does that give an extra die? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think this should be a group action. Who's going to lead this? Who's going to be the person to kind of mainly say, "Yeah, I've got, you know, we are but humble jewelers' assistants."
I'm happy to lead this action.
Sure. And what role are we making?
I think we're making a sway roll.
I think that's kind of reasonable. So, with that in mind, that's an extra. I think that's an extra die to all of you. Like, I don't see why it wouldn't be. So everyone take an extra die for seeming like ordinary citizens, which of course you are. And go ahead and everyone make the roll and give us your top result.
For the record, Brix is completely telling the truth.
That's
You
fine.
can't take these away from him. 5.
I got a 6.
Justin?
I rolled a 3, but do my own ones count towards stress for me?
Yes, I think they do. I think we had this question a couple of weeks ago.
That's fine. I'm fine with it.
Determined. So that is 2 stress, I believe. Let's just double check the actual wording of it, but I think it is.
That's fine with me.
1 stress, yeah, for every PC that rolled 1 to 3 is their best result. 3 sheets goes through a kind of. Would it be fair to say, Justin,
We're all
that 3
fine.
sheets mastered a kind of humble, everyman kind of like, cool, blimey, governor.
Pretty much, yeah. I know that obviously I can't pull off anything like that. But yeah, 3 sheets obviously, puts his arm around him and goes, "Oh, if only we could afford fancy pistols and swords and rapiers on the wages that she pays us." Ha 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 ha.
Emmeline who doesn't seem like perhaps you're sure she's good at her craft, but she's not terribly bright at the caper business. And she looks like mildly offended by this for a second, and then you can see it kind of click, and she goes, "Oh no, yes, I pay them terribly." And the kind of
Silver's just tucking her cloak.
The guard you have your arm around is kind of and then waves you all through. No pat down, no examination. So feel free, all of you, to have weapons on you as part of your load if you want.
Yay.
I love her. We have to protect her, guys.
So you proceed away from there, and Emmeline kind of turns to you and says, "Well, I'm going to make my way to the dueling deck now. If you wish to accompany me, that's fine. But I know you have your own business. Just obviously, I know Valeris will take care of everything, and there's no danger whatsoever in what we're doing. But just be safe. Be good fellows. Yes."
Safety is our middle name.
Good. And enjoy yourself. Yes.
Yes.
We will.
She turns and kind of walks off
Ooh,
into the crowd.
So is this the only opportunity? I sort of want to go.
Yeah,
And
you can go anytime.
Sure. I
Yeah.
will be like, yes. Oh, actually, I'll just link arms and I'll come with you. You know.
Oh, of course. You walk off together. Let me give you a quick description of what it actually looks like on the ship, right? So it's a vast kind of industrial processing ship that's been completely reconfigured. The main deck, which is hung with a lot of lights, is very lively. It has a lot of music being played. There are kind of people walking around with fiddles and perhaps with sort of wind-up accordions. Kind of roaming around, playing music. There are some people dancing, some people drinking, some people even seem to be kind of being served meals. Down below, you can see like on a large staircase leading down to kind of the first deck down from where you are. You can see lots of tables set out where people are already engaged in fervent games of guts. The coin and the cards are moving fast, and then below that are the decks where the artisans and craftspeople are showing their wares. And surrounded at all times by, it has to be said, a copious number of Skurlock munitions staff.
Yep. Well, we're going backstage, so.
So Echo has headed off with Emmeline. What's the plan for the other three?
Personally, I'd quite like to find quests first and leave the rest of our evening free for pleasure and jewels. But
I think, yeah, that sounds good.
That sounds good. So if the three of you are doing this, who is taking on a role? Is it a group action? Is it, what are we doing here to find quests?
I think I could do the role probably on my own, but would I be happy for assistance if you really want to? I've got 3 dice. I've got 2 from Hunt and 1 from my Scout ability. As is.
I am also happy to offer you a devil's bargain.
Is it for ticking a clock?
It is.
Don't do it.
You're down this road.
We've got an evening ahead of us. 3 shades.
Evening.
I think I'm okay. I don't think I need to tick a clock.
There are no bad consequences.
What's the position
in
of
the
the role?
game or life? I'm going to say that the position of the role is risky, only because she has seen you before.
It's true.
Go ahead.
I rolled a 6, 3, and a 1.
Perfect. You roam the deck. It does take you a while because there's a lot of people here. But you find yourself on that kind of second deck, that first deck down, in the guts tourney, and kind of walking around. They're kind of keeping people roughly away from the tables, but not by very far, like maybe 10 feet or so. And people are kind of watching close enough that they can follow a table. They can watch the game being played out. People losing copious amounts of money, gaining fortunes, even if briefly. And as you wander around, you see ahead of you, a group of what look like they all have the bearing of magistrates about them, and a few of them are wearing kind of those magistrates' tunic and robes. And Quess is doing the same. You recognize her almost immediately by that soft knitted cap of hers, and she's just talking and socializing and schmoozing with people, and doesn't seem to be paying much attention to the card games.
Well, I'm going to continue to follow her, and until I'm able to catch the eye of Silver and Bricks and everyone else, I'm just going to stalk her.
Sure, and I think it's pretty soon before maybe Silver and Bricks, who are maybe also taking a look around the place, you can catch their eye and bring them over in fairly short order, I think.
So, we found her.
Maybe listening in on some of her conversations.
Yeah, go and have a nice chat with her. I mean, we could always try and pull the same heist all over again, convince her that the keepers are out together and that she needs to go with you to... That wouldn't work a second time.
That's what God is here.
We kind of need to... I suppose listening in on what they're talking about is possibly our best bet to start with, although I think at some point we're going to have to get her on her own.
I mean,
anything.
Bricks could always approach her and talk to her about the odds on various different players.
Well, she's seen both you and me.
Oh, yeah.
She's seen Silver, but it's Silver.
Yeah, the smooth talker is the person she hasn't met. Might be a good combo.
Well, I'll go and perhaps join the conversation. Who did you mention was the best player here, Bricks?
Baculus.
Shh, keep it down.
Have you put money on Baculus, Bricks?
If I walk past the betting table, I will check what the odds are on them first.
Okay, sure.
I want to verify this tip.
Well, I'm happy for you to have done that already, you know. When you say verify the tip, like the odds don't.
No.
If it's a tip, like it probably defies the odds to a certain degree. I'm just going to make a fortune roll for this, I think. Straight up. And the odds on Baculus winning are shockingly low.
Go for it.
How far into the game are we? Are we still in like the first round?
Oh, yeah, barely begun. Some of the tables are even just playing like warm-up games.
Now's the time.
Look, you can't collect your winnings anyway if we sink the ship.
That doesn't help.
Sure, fine. Stuff things back into the cloak.
When has gambling ever done you wrong, Bricks?
Quite.
You know what? I've taken a lot of tips from drunk men in casinos. I'm going to put money on Baculus.
Put it all on black.
How
Not
many
all of
coin? How many coin are you putting on Baculus?
It's still the first round, so only the one.
Oh, man.
Echo, do you have a coin?
I mean, I'm off elsewhere, so I couldn't possibly lend a coin.
Lend,
Okay.
do you pay back your debt as a coin?
Oh, you're still on about that? Oh, really? Yeah.
Part of
So,
the deck. Her deck.
Silver, how are you making what are you rolling to try and get in on this conversation? You're mute, by the way.
Oh, I think consort is the most
Yes, absolutely. And I think this is a controlled roll as well, because she hasn't seen you. So why don't you go for it? I will offer you a devil's bargain.
Is it ticking a clock?
You know, it might be.
I feel like...
Is there a magistrate's faction?
No.
So what's the worst that could happen?
Well, I mean, there could be a magistrate's faction if I decided there was a magistrate's faction, but there's no default one in the book now.
And is there like a Skurlock munitions faction or anything?
Lord Skurlock is a faction all to himself.
Would a devil's bargain be possible for affecting our reputation with Skurlock, because some of their representatives are trying to chat with the magistrate and Silver is distracting the magistrate from... No,
I mean,
just an idea.
Skurlock's faction. I mean, Skurlock is the faction.
Okay, fine.
And unless he's there talking to her, which he would not be.
Then no. Fair enough. Just an idea.
No, it was a good idea. But unfortunately doesn't work with how... I don't want to go too into it.
But Skurlock's a vampire, so...
Offer,
He's trying to kill all.
Vampires famously immune to fire.
I will offer a devil's bargain of a sacrifice of coin or items, assuming that the jewels are on you, the fake jewels.
What would I do? What am I doing with the fake jewels?
I don't know, maybe you just drop them.
Or bribing this person.
Yeah. In a fit of pique, decide to give all the fake jewels to...
Although I definitely was intending to have some fake jewels.
I think I'm going to not tick the clock, keep a hold of my fake jewels, and just roll my normal rolling and
Go for it.
pray for the best. It's 2 dice. I got a 4 as my best result. It's not too bad.
Okay. You insert yourself into this conversation quite seamlessly and are just kind of listening and dropping the occasional kind of witty line. The magistrates, they're not all magistrates because that would be quite high ranking, but they all work within that kind of administration generally. And within maybe the legal side of Doskvol, obviously, Pardoner Drake is kind of a high-ranking official who gets to determine things like who goes to what jail and who gets let out of jail. Hence the reason the bill hooks were trying to get in with her in the first place. And Quess is her assistant and is just talking over these matters. But it's kind of, it's essentially a work-do type situation. And Quess is kind of like socializing a little bit awkwardly and generally kind of talking to people. You overhear her saying kind of like, obviously there are limited opportunities for moving up in the ranks, and I like working for Drake. I do, but sometimes it feels like she will never perish, which some of the other administrators seem to kind of go yes, and others are kind of a little bit affronted by this slightly awkward thing to say. I'm afraid my boss will never die. But nevertheless, you do find yourself even talking to Quess, and she turns to you and has kind of politely inquired about what you do. What lie do you tell her?
You're in acquisitions.
I have a jeweler's tunic. Don't I? So I think I'd say I'm a senior jeweler here. Just taking a bit of time off to visit the other deck.
Sure, absolutely. So let's, because you rolled a 4, so let's insert a complication. And she kind of nods and kind of says, "That's such a distinctive cloak you're wearing. Such a lovely shade of silver there. It reminds me of someone I'd heard about, or someone I was asking about at some point. I can't quite put my finger on it though. Where did you acquire such a lovely thing? I'm going to need you to make an action roll. Otherwise, Quess is going to figure out who you are."
Okay.
It's risky.
Okay, I'm going to tell her that, I bought it where I actually bought it and that they had a bunch of cloaks there. Probably tens of people in the city have the same cloak. Really could be anybody's.
Absolutely. Could you, are you making a consort roll for this? A sway roll? Something like that?
Sway is better, I think.
I think so too. Yep.
So I'll
taking in, I'll offer you another devil's bargain for a tick of a clock.
No. What's the worst that could possibly happen?
Absolutely.
You are embracing too much virtue here.
Okay. So I'm rolling 3 dice. Let's see what happens. I got 2 6s. 2 6s and a 4.
Nice.
Quest says, "Oh, well, I think it's absolutely fine. Would you mind terribly if we maybe moved up onto the deck so I could examine it in the light a little closer?"
Of course, I get loads of comments about this cloak. I'd be happy to show you. I'll let's go up and have a look, and I'll let the fine men at what's the name of the tailor or the I'll let them know.
Dundridge and Sons.
I'll let them know at Dundridge and Sons that you might be stopping by. I'm sure they'll give you a great discount.
Just say Silver sent you. Silver from the Keepers.
This is I know the intention is to kind of like leverage her socially and with a bit of or maybe with a bit of deception and stuff like that. But this is increasingly feeling like an opportunity in a Hitman game. If you talk to this person the right way, you can take them up on the deck near the railing.
Push them off.
So yeah, and the others who are there, Bricks and Three Sheets, you see
obviously
Silver,
following.
Yeah, just heading up onto the decks with Quest, and I assume you're following after, as you say.
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Why are they moving away from the card tables?
I definitely give Bricks and Three Sheets a bit of a look. Like, I can't believe how well
that went. Yeah.
How close? Just out of interest, how close to the railing are you? Sort of trying to navigate this conversation.
It really shines in the light of the water glistening.
Yeah.
if you kind of just lean.
So let's cut away from that and let's go down to the jeweler's deck. Echo, you're down there alongside Emmeline, who has headed into kind of it's quite a large open area. In fact, I would say it's very bright and lively down there too. It's obviously like a repurposed storage or cargo deck with some machinery still on it and some machinery still working. You can see kind of clockwork mechanisms ticking over on either side of the deck, and there's a general, not overly unpleasant, but there's a general soft smell of kind of chemicals and distillates around this area, some of which are coming from some of the jewelers are actually performing feats of jewelry for interested parties, but others are displaying their wares, or just various collections are being shown off, things like that. You think with your expert thieves' eyes that this deck, Echo, I think I'm going so far as to say you might need to dab at the base of your neck because the demonic mouth underneath your scarf is drooling.
Yes. Oh, wow. I think I say.
Emmeline says, "Well, I'm going to just go have a look at some of my peers' work. I assume you have your own business to be about."
Oh, absolutely. I just need to make sure that everything is going smoothly and safely.
Wonderful. I will see you later. Everything will be fine, won't it?
Absolutely. You can trust me.
And Valeris, he's never done me wrong. Everyone always speaks so highly of him.
Trustworthy fella, that, and handsome.
Yes. What happened? Was that I had no intention of making this character quite so likable. So she walks off to. Oh, we've broken John. She walks off to examine some of the displays. Oh no. For anyone just listening, John is broken. John will return next week in Ship Heist 2 Electric Boogaloo.
John has taken too much stress.
Yes.
Cool.
So, Echo,
Mm-hmm.
what are you doing here?
So I think my initial thing is going to be like looking around for the perfect
sort of
Yeah, sure.
situation. Who's the best mark? Who's the salesman who's paying way too much attention to that customer over there rather than
or the customer who's maybe purchased something and then has left it about their person in some hasty fashion. So you're not kind of looking for a kind of a planned opportunity like that's a really nice expensive thing. You're looking for an opportune moment and situation. Yeah. Cool. What are you going to roll for that?
I think it's either finesse or prowl. I think it's probably finesse more than prowl because I'm trying to it depends if what I'm doing is actually pickpocketing them, which I think is what I'm probably doing.
What you described of looking for an opportunity, I have to admit I was thinking survey or study. If you're looking for an opportunity, you can of course roll those, but I would say that survey will produce better results.
If I'm looking, that is true. What I am doing is looking rather than touching right now. So I'll go for survey.
Okay, there is, my friend, another clock.
That I could tick for a devil's bargain.
Correct. It's not the same one, but it is a clock.
Well, I always feel like Matt makes clocks negative things when
they could be anything though.
It could be anything. But,
I think I'm definitely going to accept that clock. That sounds great. Am I going to push myself? I don't think I'm going to push myself. Actually, I think I am going to push myself. I think it is important. Sorry. Going back on what I said, I'm now rolling 3 dice for surveying. I rolled 2 6s and a 4, so that's a critical success.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
Someone's bringing us some money.
So, I'm assuming everyone, when they push themselves and stuff, is taking the appropriate stress as well as stress. Yeah, cool. You have a look around, and you know what? Something almost immediately leaps out at you. There is an individual carrying out sort of actual kind of tinkering and jewel carving down near the end of the deck, and they are very, very wrapped up in their craft, and there are a number of people crowding around them kind of examining because they're doing very good work. They're like shaped jewels, so not just kind of a gem, but kind of you see jewels shaped like a bird, like jewels shaped like what other things would we potentially have in Dosfall, like a goat,
mushroom,
like a horse, like some of the hardy fungal flowers that
like a wave,
slightly nicer than the others, like a star, not the ones in the sky. You can't see, people can't see them anymore, but you can see the ones that glint oddly at the bottom of the ocean. These things, that he's creating these items of wonder, and there are people crowding around him, and it would be pretty easy to examine one of these closely, and you probably wouldn't be able to supplant one of the fake jewels for it because they're not shaped.
That's unusual.
But he's producing a lot of them at a rapid rate, and some of his previous work is already there. He's so wrapped up in what he's doing, it would be very difficult to notice if you pulled it off.
Sure.
Until, of course, he carries out an inventory.
Sure. I think, I'm not one to look a gift goat in the mouth. So I am going to look, it's a proverb from Tykeros. I see you looking at me. So I'm going to attempt, I think, a finesse on this to do some sleight of hand to swap one out, or to make it look like I'm looking for one when I'm not.
I will offer you a devil's bargain on the clock I just started.
I mean, yes.
Absolutely.
I am just, look, it's my weak point, okay, guys? I need to, the devil does me good. So I am now rolling 3 dice. Do these look particularly valuable? Like, how are they, do they look like really good?
It would be difficult to know until you get it appraised. But I mean, yes.
Yeah, I really do.
They're not cheap.
Yeah.
They're expensive enough that they don't have price tags.
Yes. Okay. I think I will push myself for an extra dice as well.
Okay.
Because I've taken, I'm already really high on stress despite having not done anything. So I'm going
This is going to be a trauma. I can feel you plunging into the depths of this.
Please no.
One more trauma and Echo will be another trauma off that character not being playable anymore.
That's fine.
So I'm rolling 4 dice for this. I got
this is a risky situation, by the way, in case you
okay. I'm assuming I haven't made any. I don't think I have made any desperate rolls so far. I rolled a 6. Just one though. So
there we go. Cool. Yeah, you managed to get close enough to kind of everyone's peering. Yeah, exactly. Everyone's kind of huddled around looking, and Echo's hand just sneaks out, grabs the nearest thing on the table. Right, you don't get to pick, and just withdraws it slowly, and no one seems to notice. And let's find out what you have. I rolled it without actually determining in my head what the roll might mean, but it seems to be made out of some kind of perhaps a sapphire or another kind of blue gemstone, and it is fashioned into the shape of a star. And you slip it under your tunic. No one seems to be any the wiser. Yes. So, up on deck. Quess has walked over by just to actually make sure here, because I did say it in humor, but hey, it's definitely one way to deal with Quess, although obviously Valeris was looking for perhaps a little more subtle of a way. But I suppose it's worth asking, Silver, are you leading Quess over near the rail?
I think I would, not thinking we're definitely going to kill this person, but
sure,
having it as an option.
It's always an option.
Sure.
Keep your options open.
And you hit a critical. So I did that. You lead Quest round, and she stood by the rail on the other side from the gondolas of the ship. Plunging into the ice cold waters of Doskvol, on such a huge ship as this. The plunge will probably knock her out, and then that's that done.
Even more knocked out with a knife in her.
It's true. Bricks and 3 sheets. Are you observing from kind of nearby, or are you approaching to engage in this at this point?
No, distance.
Yeah,
maintaining
skulking in the shadows.
Yeah.
Okay. Silver. Quest is kind of examining your cloak now under the kind of argon and neon lights, quite enthusiastically, talking to you about Dundridge and Sons and how difficult it is to get sophisticated clothing in Doskvol these days. What are you doing? What's the tack here? What are you attempting?
I think Silver's general plan is going to be she's assuming that this quest is trying to get some kind of promotion, and she wants to leverage the fact that Silver knows, for one, that she badly messed up in terms of losing all the money that was going to Lady Drake, and also that the knowledge of that getting out is going to severely hamper her career,
her promotion prospects.
Even if she had done it successfully. And so she's going to try and leverage that information to say, look, if you stop looking for us, we will keep quiet about all of that, and we'll just let bygones be bygones, basically.
Absolutely. I think that's a good thing. What role are you making for that?
I think sway.
It seems like the appropriate thing to do, right? I have no devil's bargain for you. But if anyone else wants to offer one, they are welcome to. I would say that Bricks and 3 sheets could attempt to help in this by making their presence known in a gently intimidating fashion. But I think you can only be assisted by one person at once, I think. So it would just be both of them could do it, but only one of them. You only get one die, and only one stress is taken. But,
Then I would like to keep relatively hidden.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fair for me to move forward. Like, I think from where we're eavesdropping, if it becomes clear that we are outed and that Silver is saying we are the keepers, leave us alone,
Mm-hmm.
then I will move forward.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Well, first off, you know what? First off, tell us exactly. Let's roleplay a bit. You tell us what you're saying, Sam. Tell us what you're doing, John, and then we'll have the roll for it.
Okay. So I think, we're looking at this cloak. Quest, I have to say that I haven't been entirely honest about my motivations for being here. You see...
Oh, she's kind of only half listening as she's kind of examining the material, kind of holding it up. It's like literally holding it up off your back and kind of like looking in the light.
You see, I actually came here to talk to you. I'm part of an organization, a well-meaning, respected organization that you may have had some dealings with in the past. And my understanding is that you perhaps don't look so favorably upon what happened between us. And
at this point, Bricks, are you kind of like moving into view?
Yep.
Are you
I'm not trying to be... I'm not trying to be threatening, and I'm not trying to be known, but just sort of like a random passerby wandering up and then stopping slightly uncomfortably close to the conversation to not be a part of it.
Sure. Are you kind of looking at her or them, or are you just kind of maybe leaning on the rail and idly looking out, but very visible?
That's cooler than what I was going to say. So
Okay.
yes.
Sure, absolutely. As she's kind of looking a bit quizzically at Silver, and then as she sees you, and you see her kind of eyes widen in recognition, and then she kind of glances down at the silver cloak and kind of goes, 2 and 2 go together in her head. Obviously heard of Silver as part of the Keepers in her investigations, and she just kind of drops the cloak and is sort of stood there. She's quite a short, kind of slight young woman, and she sort of stood there like hands clasped together, and you can see that she's like trembling slightly as you carry on talking. Please do go ahead.
this is my colleague. I believe you may have met him before.
Mm-hmm.
I give her a nod.
We wish you no ill will. We just wanted to ask you to kindly stop looking into us, trying to interfere with our business. And in exchange, we'd be perfectly happy to stay quiet about your dealings with the bill hooks, your failure to negotiate payment on behalf of Lady Drake. And, I think those kinds of things are looked quite poorly upon for someone in your position looking to move up the ranks within the magistrates.
I mean, Lady Drake said that she wouldn't tell anyone about the... Can you give me the roll, please?
Okay. With the assist, I'm rolling 4 dice. I got a 6 and 3 5s. God,
pretty good. That's as good as you can get without it being a critical. That's like, yeah. She sort of looks around vaguely as if someone's going to be nearby to help her, and then turns back, and you can see her her shoulders just droop slightly, and she says, I was hoping to use gaining traction with the bill hooks as leverage, but I suppose what you say also does make sense, and I have no wish to offend a group of such, she glances at Brick's stature. Yes, of course. I will cease my investigations, which I'm sure you agree were only the sensible thing to do. And yes, the bill hooks will not hear of your what you did.
Perfect. That sounds absolutely wonderful. Of course, we hold, as I say, no ill will. I'll let the guys at Dunbridge and Sons know that you'll be coming in.
Yes. Yes.
Just
Thank you.
Tell them Silver sent you.
Yes.
Yes. Well, such a lovely. Goodbye. She turns round and kind of scurries back towards the card deck.
Night.
Wow.
So, here's a question for you guys. You have now achieved this score. Normally, we'd wrap that up. But I feel like you're looking for more opportunities here tonight. But maybe you feel that's been covered with what Pierre's done so far. Maybe you want to push that further. Obviously, there's clocks are ticking.
Clocks are ticking.
Clocks are ticking. So what do we want to do from this point? We can either wrap up. I'm happy to wrap up the score there, or we can go to the well once more, so to speak. And don't worry about your bet. We're going to roll for that when the score ends.
I think I don't need any more jewels, but I would be interested in what these highfalutin peoples think about either Downmore or Skurlock, because we don't get to hobnob with these individuals that often. And I know it's probably weird to try and tick the long-term projects during quest time, but
no, I think it's reasonable though, because you are in potential danger while doing so, right? So I think being able to do that, trade that off, like I'm happy with that. Shall we say I'm going to give all of you like one extra roll to do something, right? Whatever you want, and it's fine to say no, I'm cool. A roll or an assistance on another roll. Because even the keeper, and I don't want to take away your agency, but right now, you've basically gone away with murder here in this extremely well. Even the keepers probably know when they've got lucky, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
so they also know when to push their luck.
Absolutely. So Three Sheets has already answered me on what he wants to do, right? So tell me what you're trying to find. Are you trying to find out about Lord Skurlock or about Dalmor?
I think I was not at the Skurlock mission, so I'm not that interested in it. So probably
Dalmor.
Dalmor.
Interested in that Dalmor mission. Can you just remind us, John, how many ticks are on that clock and how many remain?
Let me see.
I think it's pretty close to.
I think it's pretty close as well. Yeah.
Dalmor. Yeah, there's just one tick left.
Okay, so here's the thing. And I won't give you exactly the same kind of results you'd get from a downtime roll, because I think that would be kind of odd to give you that kind of. You always succeed. Just how many seconds. What I'm going to say is, if you succeed, you'll get that last tick, right? Can anyone remember what the last thing we were doing to investigate Lord Dalmor was, and like where we kind of left that hovering? Go ahead.
I've got that we found the name of someone called Whist who might know something about Dalmor, but I can't remember what we were doing to.
Okay, well, Justin, what are you rolling, friend?
I am going to roll Hunt. Okay, sure. To try and basically, I'm just listening. I'm stalking around, listening to conversations,
trying to find anything relevant.
Yeah, well, when something catches my ear, I'll sit, maybe have a drink, and then move on. That's what I'm doing.
I have not got a devil's bargain for you. Does anyone else want to assist? And remember, that will preclude you also making an extra roll of some kind. Has anyone got an assist or a devil's bargain or 3 sheets? Are you pushing yourself?
I will be pushing.
Okay. No devil's bargain, no assist.
That's fine.
Is pushing 2 stress?
Yep.
Yes, pushing yourself is 2 stress. Yeah.
Give me 3
Remember,
dice.
we have one extra stress box as well,
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
because
all that's part of your upgrades.
Oh man, I haven't been playing risky enough.
I rolled a 6 and 2 5s.
Perfect. So I probably don't need to say who you find propping up the bar down on the card deck, already having been cast out of the guts tourney and drinking to his misery is the man you've seen a few times around the Docklands, known as Whist, a small, weaselly kind of guy with prematurely greying hair, and kind of, clearly someone who has lived hard but not seen any benefit from it. He's propping up the bar, and why don't you tell me how you approach him?
Probably would approach as a fellow person who's been around a bit but seen no luck from it, and just strike up a conversation about the harshness of life and the only way to fix it being alcohol and drugs.
He takes to this very readily, and before long, you've bought him a couple of drinks, and he is thoroughly in his cups with the misery of his evening. And I'm assuming you're going to pump him for information about Dalmor while he's in this state.
Yeah, I'm going to say I've done some jobs for this right old coot called Dalmor. Doesn't, seem suspicious to me. Can't seem to get head and tails of him.
Oh, Dalmor, the one fancy cane.
That's the one. His eyes
Lantern on it. Oh,
can't get a grip on him.
dead man's eyes.
Dead man's eyes. Spits.
He kind of looks around. There are loads of people around you, so clearly he's looking around, serves no purpose whatsoever. And then he leans in conspiratorially and says, you can't tell others this.
Who am I going to tell?
You know who he works for?
Not a clue.
Strangford, the Lord, Chief Leviathan Hunter for Duskfall.
That is interesting.
They've
Who'd
had
have thought it?
Some kind of hullabaloo going. Jobs put out, people put on them, all desperate like, paying well. No one knows why. But that's Strangford. He's an odd bird.
Well, that is... gosh, is that the time? Look, here's... You can finish off this. Leaves the rest of the glass.
Takes the rest of your drink and just starts down.
I need to go get some fresh air. I think it's been a while. It's been a while since I've been in the sea. I haven't got my legs back yet.
He kind of toasts to your health amid kind of gurgles of your drink, and you walk off. Dalmor works for Lord Strangford. You have all heard of Lord Strangford.
Cool.
So that's that project completed. Obviously, you can follow it on with projects to learn more about them or do something about that, but that is completed. So let's go through you one by one, and let's start with John. John, is Brix attempting to achieve anything else while here?
do the card players ever take breaks?
Oh, yeah.
So I want to ask, how is Baculus doing? But I know this all comes down to a roll at the end.
Baculus is currently doing pretty well.
Okay. I would like to identify his main rival, possibly the person with the best odds, and
Sure.
have a conversation with them.
Threaten them into throwing the game, in other words.
Yeah.
Break their hands. Break their hands. They can't play with no hands.
Okay.
This is
This is a deceitful plan.
Well,
Bite his fingers off.
what are you rolling for this?
I mean, it's got to be skirmish.
Reg!
Oh, that, to that
Reg!
degree, okay.
Reg!
Well,
I mean, skirmish means you are inflicting violence on them.
Reg can be intimidating. Could just be a display of
Breaking
pure...
I mean, it could be, but I don't want to get thrown off the boat, and I don't think security would like me punching up their walls.
No, but you could wreck his clothing or him or his personality. You can emotionally wreck somebody.
I don't think it applies to that, but I like it.
I think it does. I think it does.
I think it definitely doesn't.
Alright, let's go for a command then. I was planning on going for skirmish because I am big enough with the potential to beat the crap out of him.
Sure. Yeah. You could roll skirmish if you want. It just means you are applying violence in some way, you know?
I'm trying to. I don't want to get thrown off. So I'm going for the threat of violence.
Sure, yeah. Devil's bargain? Tick of a clock?
I was going to push myself.
Go for it. I mean, you can do both. But...
Why not both? You know.
I can't. I think the bonus die thing says push yourself or accept a devil's bargain.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Are you
On
sure
my
that's
sheet,
not?
anyway?
Are you sure that's not like
Inclusive or rather than exclusive or?
I don't know.
Well, we've been doing it, so I'm happy for us to continue to do it.
Sure.
No, I'm not going to tick anything.
Sure. Go ahead.
Highest is a 5.
Okay. Well, you didn't text. Well, the consequence from that will be the tick of a clock.
That's how he gets you in the end.
Yeah, you do indeed find the sort of the current kind of other front runner for the tourney, and you manage to persuade her in between cracks of the knuckles and horrible little gestures, kind of anatomical constructions of your hands of which bits might break or be pulled off or whatever. That maybe it's in her best interest if you maybe skip the rest of the tournament. You can see like her eyes glaze over as you do this. This is not the first time this person has been threatened with throwing a tourney. She also seems like a professional gambling type, like Baculus is, and she just shrugs. Clearly, has figured that she's pissed off the wrong person over the last couple of weeks. And sort of with quite a display of courage, actually toasts you and goes over to withdraw her current winnings from the tourney. Not the first time threatened. So, Pierre, are we carrying out any extra?
I mean, the first one was flawless. So, I mean, surely there are more jewels to be had down here. Either that, or if I see like a door somewhere, that I'm. But I think mainly I'm after something valuable.
Sure.
So I will be looking around for something.
Well, if I mean, you've already, already had a look around, and if it's just one roll, or at least one reactor,
Yeah,
roll, I might foist another one on you if it goes badly. But
yeah, I think I'll go for actually pickpocketing somebody.
Okay. And I'm assuming that's going to be a finesse roll.
That is going to be a finesse roll.
Okay. I have no devil's bargain to offer you. And Justin has looked it up, and it is indeed a pushing yourself or a devil's bargain. You can't do both. You can also get assistance, but
too much luck. But yes, on a previous roll, do I push myself? I think I will push myself.
Okay, sure.
This is very stressful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm rolling finesse. I got my highest result was a 4.
Okay.
Can I? I have a special ability, but I don't know what the consequence is.
Why don't you tell me what the ability is, because it might be relevant.
So
The special ability is is called Shadow. I may expend my special armor to resist a consequence from detection or security measures, or to push myself for a feat of athletics or stealth.
Expend your special armor.
Okay, I will expend my special armor for.
Sure,
It's pretty good special armor.
it's pretty good. Yeah, you find yourself sort of as you wander past a party of guffawing nobles. You slip your hand into just the right place in someone's kind of where they've stashed a jewel they've just purchased in their pocketbook, and you withdraw it to find a lovely little emerald thing. Definitely not as fancy as the last one you took, but very, very nice little cut gem. You look up and you see a large man in a Skurlock munitions uniform kind of looking at you over the crowd and sort of like starting to make their way forwards towards you, and with well practiced stealth you just withdraw into the masses of the very guffawing nobles you just stole from and slip away and around, and you see them kind of like standing near there kind of looking around for you, but you slip up away from the jeweler's deck and back towards the main deck. Is there anything Silver wants to do, Sam?
I think Silver, for the most part, is just enjoying herself talking to these people. I think she would generally, with like quite subtly, try to find out anything she could about Lord Skurlock. He runs this ship. He's running this place. He's shown up. Seems to be making some moves in the city, and it seems like that might be the kind of thing people are talking about. And Silver would
absolutely
not push anything, but steer conversations in that direction.
Sure. And do we have a project for Skurlock, John?
Not yet. There was one, but I think
We can
Oriel Chris managed to complete it in the same session.
There was one, and I did give you some information, but try and find out further things about Lord Skurlock then. Okay, yeah. So we are. What are you going to roll for this? I mean, I'm assuming Consort is hovering over the horizon.
Yeah. Consort.
Sure. I will offer you a devil's bargain, if you want, which will be the tick of a clock.
I can't do it. Might be the last tick, and I'm not going to risk it on the probably chaos. The final roll of the score.
That's fair. Are you going to push yourself or anything?
I have an ability, but I don't think it applies. No, this isn't really subterfuge, so I think I'll just roll my standard.
Sure.
Which is 2 dice. And I got a 2 and a 2.
Nice.
Should have pushed yourself.
Resist consequences.
Yeah. Do you want to make a resistance roll before I announce the consequences?
I have a special armor to resist the consequence from suspicion or persuasion.
That is, again, expend your special armor. Suspicion is absolutely what we're talking about here.
I will do so.
Okay. You have a not an exactly similar scenario to Echo, but you're kind of talking about and vaguely asking about Lord Strangford, not Strangford, Skurlock, right? And kind of asking about Skurlock around the place. And as you're moving around, and this is on the card deck again, you overhear a couple of munitions employees kind of talking to people, turning around, kind of going between groups and saying, has anyone... obviously, our host has provided these entertainments for everyone, and we've heard that someone might be asking questions about him, which is clearly a very rude thing to do in this environment and at this time. And we're wondering if you knew who'd been asking those questions. Unfortunately for you, the individual they're talking to, kind of a lady of Dosval with a vast, elaborate hat with kind of like silver birds' cages and odd totems hanging from it, kind of shakes. Says, "I'm sorry, I haven't heard anyone. How rude!" And you move past that and decide perhaps tonight is not the time.
Yeah.
So the end of the score. You find yourselves on the deck hours later, alongside Emmeline the jeweler, who seems very happy that you completed your business with no horrific events having happened and no horrible consequences. You board yourselves up onto the gondola on the way back to shore. A pleasant evening at a lovely party. And all that remains is to make a fortune roll for Baculus.
Come on, Bricks.
So, normal one, plus an extra die for a threatened competitor being knocked out of the race. So why don't we find out just how Bricks did? You put 1 coin in, right?
Correct.
Well, Bricks, you can avail yourself of that coin that you put in, and 2 more.
Yes.
Whoa. And you know what? What's your stress at?
6.
Give yourself a free roll of a stress. It was betting, it was gambling.
Yeah, just 2 in 1.
And you know what? That's something I think we can do. If others of you find yourself in situations where you can avail yourself of drugs or draperies on the score, then yeah.
Indulge.
How'd you do there, John?
I rolled 4.
Better than nothing.
Decent. I think
That's
that is
bad.
decent. So let's talk about downtime, folks. Let's run through the downtime mechanics. First off, we're talking about payoff. So you have rep to increase. It's 2 rep per score by default. I don't think this really had a target, so to speak. It certainly wasn't a factional target, so I don't think you get any extra from that, but you can give yourself... do we consider this? Did you keep the operation completely quiet so no one knows what happened? Actually, I think that's the case. I don't think anyone is going to come out of this talking about it. Not Valeris, not because the whole thing and nothing happened. Like in the other ones where it can't be pinned on you, but something still happened and people know about it. I don't think the only person who knows about this tonight is Quest. So you know what? No rep, I think. No one will ever know that this happened unless you tell them.
Very good.
And why would you tell them? Because that would break the point of it.
What about having like when we fence the fancy jewels?
What fancy jewels?
That assumes.
Where can they be pinned on? I don't know. No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Sure.
On the other hand,
now
you didn't get paid for the job, but you got that coin, right? And I think for the 2 jewels, I think we are looking with that critical. I think we're looking at 8 coin here, folks.
There's literally no chance that Echo can hide having 8 coin from us, especially given that Echo
that's
can't carry 8 coin.
You've also got to fence it and stuff. It would be pretty.
I did manage to get a couple of jewels.
Sure. So with that 8 coin, sorry to say, unless you want consequences, 2 of that is going to the grinders.
Are we not saying that nobody knows about this, though? Isn't that the whole point? You said
it's entirely up to you whether you pay them or not.
I mean, the grinders probably know our fences.
Surely it's
and not only that, but we also promised the Wraiths money.
Yep. They'll get back.
I think if nobody knows about this, then how are the grinders or
Look,
the Wraiths?
the chances of the Wraiths not having networks into every fence in the city are low, or at least the ones that we know about.
I think there is a distinction between no one knows what happened, that you were involved in something and something happened, and no one knows you're selling jewels.
I get the impression.
I think there is a difference there.
I also get the impression that with the grinders, the nature of it is they are charging us rent. Like, they don't care how we make our money.
Sure.
They just say, you owe us 2 coin every X amount of time. So we could just, be in infinite debt to them. They don't have to, they don't care if we've done a score or not.
Yeah, there is an element of that. You can still see it. I will say to you that because it's very quiet, maybe the chances are improved that you don't get into trouble from it, but they don't go away. I will say it's up to you guys.
I think we
But-
pay everyone, and that leaves 2 coin for Echo and 1 for everyone else.
Echo did do the work.
Echo did the work.
Is everyone?
And,
everyone is going. I mean, Echo
Yeah.
will obviously be happy with that, I imagine.
Yeah,
Yeah, happy with that, Echo?
sure.
And you do owe me that coin as well. And I know
Doesn't
you
she owe you
paid.
2 coin?
Well,
No, I think
wasn't there interest?
There was interest, but the interest, I think is a favour to be determined at a later date.
So then,
Let's
are
go
we
for that.
going? So 1 coin for everyone, 2 for Echo. But is Echo paying back 3 sheets?
I will pay 3 sheets a coin.
You don't have to pay me. You don't have to
No,
pay
no,
me.
I
But
don't
the
want.
interest will go up, obviously.
Yeah, no. Okay, I'm paying you a coin to get you off my back.
Absolutely.
Sure.
So there we
it
go.
is
So
your money.
the end result is 2 coins for 3 sheets, 1 coin for everyone else. No one's running out of space to stash their coin, right?
I mean, I have gone over, but I've been putting it in my stash.
Okay, so you can put stuff in stash as well. Yeah, that's fine. So in that case, let's move on to heat. I mean, I think 0. It was smooth and quiet, low exposure, nothing. I don't think you get any heat for that. So yeah. So the next thing we do is entanglements. So your heat should still be at 0, right?
Correct.
But I wanted 2, so you
You
want 2
wanted
dice.
is 2. I do roll 2 dice. So let's see what we've got here. That's that. Yeah. Yeah, let's go with that. So, sorry, just looking at stuff. So let me just. Ooh, I don't know who that is. I'm just rolling something random. Don't mind me.
No worries.
It's
It's
absolutely
fine. You just let us know. I'm considering a long-term project to get this random art, jeweler to be a contact.
Sure.
That would be fun, wouldn't it? Keep her as a recurring NPC.
I did like her.
We did like her, and that's even though I have no interest in no reason to keep her around. Liking her is enough to make it try and make her a recurring character.
Well then, the entanglement isn't going to crop up yet. It'll we'll talk about whether it comes up, or if it doesn't, I'll do it at the end. But let's look at your downtime activities. So first off, on our downtime activities schedule, we have John.
Ooh, heck indeed.
Do you want me to come back to you?
Yes, because I
Okay.
don't need to stress relief. So
You have no
In
idea
that
what
case,
to do.
let's see what Justin would like to do. Do you want to make a roll on that new project?
I actually figure that I probably won't. I'll let someone else do that because I don't really care. It's not something that Hound
Sure.
really cares about. But what I will do is perhaps train
Sure.
in is it prowess skills that we get the bonus
Prowess is
for?
the one where you get the bonus.
Correct.
Yeah, you get an extra one. So
So we get 2 XP.
yeah, correct. So how are you training?
I am going to spar with bricks, which is a dangerous proposition at best of times. It's been about 2 years since my last one, and I think that I've forgotten how badly I was beaten up last time.
Yeah.
It's just it's like a bath. I do it once a year just to keep myself fresh.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Well, that works. Take your 2 XP for that. Sam, what's your first downtime activity?
I think I'd like to do the same, as in training, not sparring with bricks, but training prowess, with the idea of eventually putting it into finesse. So maybe taking some pointers from Echo on how best
Pickpocketing and the like. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
After being impressed at how Echo said that she pickpocketed those jewels, think that'd be a handy thing to learn how to do.
And you make them disappear.
Absolutely. Pierre, as for you, what are you going to do?
I'm going to head to Traven's smoke shop. I'm gonna talk to Traven about the trip on the gondola that was really like stressful, and like be like I could swear out the corner of my eyes I could see there were bodies in the water, but there weren't any bodies in the water. It's just, do you ever get that? And I rolled 4, so I
absolutely. So that's a reduction, and as you obviously you're well accustomed. It's almost like a home away from home now in Traven's.
Yeah.
You lay down on the soft couch and inhale the various vapors. And Traven, that tall, spindly, odd individual with the pale mask, as you drift off, says, "Oh, I know just what you mean, Echo. If there's water, there's always bodies, and they have such interesting things to say."
And somehow that just like calms me because I don't really process it.
No, absolutely. You definitely only have very vague memories of it when you wake up again hours later. Bricks.
I think I'm going to be, I'm going to be training, and I will also count the sparring with 3 sheets because
Sure.
sometimes it's good to practice your skills against someone who doesn't know how to throw a punch.
I fight dirty. I fight really dirty, and I do know how to throw a punch. I just don't know how to throw a punch through a brick wall. That's the only difference.
Unfortunately for you, you're fighting a brick wall. Yeah, cool. That sounds good. So an extra 2 XP for you then, John. And then for our second actions, Sam, what are you doing for your second action? No stress to reduce?
I didn't take any stress at this whole mission.
Very nice.
Can you come back to me, maybe?
Yeah, sure. In that case, John.
I think I quite like the suggestion. I'm going to start a long-term project for Emmeline to be a contact.
Handy to know a jeweler who can make stuff, fence stuff. Yeah, absolutely. We'll go ahead and set that up, and you can give that 6 segments, please.
Okay.
And what are you going to roll to do it?
I'm going to go for, I don't think any of my usual tactics will work, so I'm going to go for consort.
Okay. Yep. Sounds good. Have you got what have you got in that?
Just 1.
Just 1. Go for it.
So I roll 1, 6.
Hey, that's 3 segments filled.
Nice.
Yeah, you decide to pay Emmeline a little visit. She looks slightly worried at first that you're going to tell her about some unforeseen consequences. But then you just spend some time in the shop, kind of like, not showing a particular amount of wisdom with her, but admiring her goods, paying her some compliments. She seems quite a vain individual, and perhaps attention from a young man, even one so blatantly not interested in her in that way, seems to tick some boxes for her. Yeah, you think you'd be welcome back in the shop. Next we have Pierre.
I think I enjoyed that last experience quite a lot. So I will, just sort of return. I will, Traven, it's like we're all underwater. And I rolled a 1, so that was actually a relatively mild experience.
Relatively mild experience.
Or actually, I guess a relatively stressful experience compared to the relaxing nature that they could be.
That's probably because as you drift under, this time you hear Traven speaking words that just kind of stick with you a bit, and you can't kind of forget them after you wake up. As you drift off, saying, "Oh, it's we were talking about water or something last time." It's like we're all. You hear him saying, "Oh, Echo, we are all in water. We're all going to be in water in the end. All walls will fall, Echo."
Oh no! Oh no! Oh.
For some reason, you can't quite remember from where, but those words just stick with you. Justin.
I'm going to go heal. Just hit recovery.
Yep, sounds good. Sounds like a plan.
I roll one dice.
You do roll one die. It's tier 1, so it's 1 die.
I rolled a 2.
You rolled a 2. Well, that is 1 segment of your healing clock.
That is enough for me to reset my healing clock, and I no longer have any injuries.
Hooray! Completely. That ferret bite is completely gone. All good. Look! No more ferrets! Well, no more ferret bites anyway. So, Sam, we return to you, I believe.
I've remembered that I also have to heal. I still have a bad shoulder.
If anyone out there is rules lawyering us, we are aware. We don't know. We probably should be taking account of our harm a lot more. But well, we're not. We should. We will.
Yeah,
We are trying.
I definitely did forget, although I don't think I did too many like physical things.
No, I don't think you made any physical rolls tonight. So
I'll roll my 1 dice. I rolled a 5. Not too bad.
okay, well that is 2 segments.
Lovely for you.
There we go. And let's say that 3 sheets and silver went to red silks together for their healing, shall we? And
So cute.
as you're kind of emerging from it, you see walking up. Do you remember that road we were on that very first score where Red Silks now lives? The kind of bridging road over that hangs above a chunk of the docks. You see coming towards you, kind of cap in hand, as you're kind of coming out of Red Silks, feeling a little bit refreshed, variably refreshed. It's safe to say. It is Odgar, the head of your little crew of rovers, who is sort of stumping his hunched, plump, and old uniformed way up to you. He has his pet bird on his shoulder, and he kind of waves to you and comes over and says, "Oh, good, Mistress Silver, Master Three Sheets. How are you this fine day?"
All better.
Oh, that's very good. So, my boy, my Nicholas, obviously he got into that little spot of trouble a few weeks ago, which we braved it out against those grey cloak bullies wanting to pin. It was a fair fight, and he was provoked something awful. The problem is, this has given him a little bit more of a reputation among the docks, and the Deathland scavenger, well, he thought to test it. I mean, we've already dealt with the mess, but people did see it, and those scavengers, they're such a territorial bunch, cliquey, some would say. And I was wondering if we were adopting a similar approach with them as well. So Nicholas has
Once
killed
again
someone else.
Good.
A random. A random.
If only it was a
horrible
blue
fight.
cloak.
So, and your options are you can forfeit rep,
Yes.
and it would be 2 rep.
Still yes.
And if you don't have 2 rep, that's not, obviously we can't do that. You can make an example of Nicholas, which doesn't have mechanical things, but obviously will have consequences. Or
Pay some money.
Can face reprisals from the wronged party, which in this case, because you haven't dallied with them before, I would say is just moving the Deathland scavengers to a -1. Like, they know of you, and they know one of your lot killed one of their lot, and they know it wasn't an attack on them, but they're
it's
not
still friction.
going to look at you favorably, you know.
Well, Odgar, this is a bit of a different thing. Grey cloaks, murder them left, right, and centre, I say. Blue cloaks, grey cloaks, any of the cloaks, really. But the
Oh,
scavengers.
incidentally, we were talking about this and saying how we had it wrong. It is blue coats and grey cloaks.
Coats,
Blue
cloaks.
coats, grey cloaks. But any coats and cloaks.
Anyone who defines
Three
himself
sheets is
by
against.
an item of
Yeah.
apparel, they're
Sure.
dead to me.
Whoa.
Don't say that in the presence of Silver.
Yeah, any comments on that, Silver?
Silver's apparel is defined by them, not the other way around.
Sure.
But I think we'll have to have a conversation with the rest of the keepers about this. Cut back to the lighthouse.
What do we think? So it's either you lose 2 rep, you admonish and publicly humiliate Nicholas,
I don't think that's a good option.
He's
or
just killing everyone.
or you lose favor with the. With
Everybody
the
everybody gets 3 chances. If you kill someone else, then I think we've got a fair
Can
point.
we-
But
can we
just
at
2
least
everyone
tell him
gets 2.
Cool it a little bit in terms of killing
No,
people.
no, this is exactly why we hired them.
No, I think we need to
No,
make an example of this boy. He's supposed to work for us, not start wars on our behalf for no reason. We gave him 1 chance. He's overstepping the line. Someone needs to show him he works for us. He's not supposed to make our life more difficult by getting into fights every day.
Look, if you want to take this murderer and piss him off, then that's your own. That's up to you. I think we make amends. We apologize. We weren't to know. Things get out of hand, and that's what I think we should do.
That would be the rep hit.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah.
Do we have the rep to give?
Yeah, we have 7.
Quite a lot.
Okay. But if he kills another person,
Yeah. Obviously, if he kills another person.
like
I
If
say-
Matt rolls that option again and immediately goes to that well a 3rd time,
Then
Yeah.
we'll have a conversation. I mean, obviously not on the grey cloak, because
cool.
that doesn't even count.
I mean, we'll have a conversation with him now.
yeah, but just a
Oh, yeah,
conversation.
You have a
Doing it
conversation with him.
again.
You just don't kind of publicly dress him down or whatever.
Correct.
Sure, cool. So you lose 2 rep. Yeah, let's say that you go to meet a representative of the Deathland Scavengers. You kind of apologize, maybe give them a trinket or gift of some kind, maybe promise to do some kind of service in the future for them as recompense. And yeah, they make it clear though they're not happy about it, but neither do they have any ill will if you were willing enough to deliver the respect they deserve.
They do deserve respect.
John, can you mark the Deathland on your sheet that has all the factions? You can mark the Deathland Scavengers as a 0 now, because I think I've just put a slash, right, or whatever.
Correct.
For like not met them. You have now met the Deathland Scavengers, who, as you might imagine from the name, are people who go out into the Deathlands and do scavenging. Yeah, and you meet them on the outskirts of Doskval, and yeah, they're not happy, but you've saved, them carrying ill will against you. And there we go. That's our session for the night. We've done the score. We've done the downtime. Wonderful. We'll do the XP offline, because who wants to watch that? It's not particularly entertaining. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. If you've got any comments or questions, sling them in the chat, and Steve will pop them up. We know it's run a little late, but it is what it is. And if you could... yeah, I don't know why I was going with that. Promo. There's a bunch of links down below, YouTube and Twitch. Check them out. Follow us on them, those that you haven't already. And check out our social media, our Discord, which you are free to join. Our Patreon, where we offer stuff in return for support. We run 3 games a week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. That is Call of Cthulhu, Blades in the Dark, and Simbaroom, all of them starting at 8:00 p.m. BST. We also have one-shots that run on Saturdays, usually the first Saturday of the month. The next one of those is on September the 11th, when Pierre, down there, will be running Dungeon World for us. But we also have a kind of interim special one, which is just the second part of the recent One Ring one, which overran. And so we have a 2-parter of it. And that's this Saturday at 3:00 p.m. BST. Join us here for the second part of that. If you haven't watched the first part already, go check out the VODs over on our YouTube. Lovely. And I think that's it. And I don't think we have any comments or questions tonight. So, John does want dirty, stabby, filthy times on a t-shirt. Leave your private life out of these streams. Thank you, John. What a horrible thing to say. You definitely never find me saying anything like that. So thank you for watching, everyone. Thank you to my lovely players. Thank you to the excellent stream manager, Steve. And we'll see you next week for more Blades in the Dark. Goodbye.